Hello guys, good morning. It's Saturday again, and yeah, it's definitely my weekly recap. Definitely every Saturdays are for my trade recaps. So let's jump into it. So here is my 15-minute time frame on GBPJPY on this day, on Thursday, being 10 a.m. in the morning after the London session have officially opened. I definitely went in for a buy, and then I was targeting exactly this. I was definitely the stop loss was a little bit wider because I just wanted to maintain pure market structure, definitely where market has definitely come before and tested. So I just placed my stop loss above this level. So and when you look left, you can definitely see the price has eventually tested this level on multiple occasions. So you can clearly see why I was selling. This is my 1 hour price looking left. You can see you can easily draw a rectangle line on this level, testing this level, and you can also go to the 4 hour time frame and clearly see what's happening. You can clearly see what's happening. So if you can draw a rectangular line, definitely you can draw from this level. You can see that this place definitely has been tested by price on multiple occasions. Then on this day, here's the 4 hour by the way. And like I told you guys, whenever I finish marking my high or low of the week, price tends to retest that level or retest the low of the week once price has eventually broken it. And I also then said that marking out my high and low of the week every Monday gives us a directional bias on where and what the market is going to be doing for that week. So you can see from the day I marked it out, let me show you. Okay, that's Monday. I'm trying to show what you can see. It's Monday eventually when I marked it out. It's usually every Monday. So whenever I mark this out every Monday, it gives me the directional bias. And it means whichever that breaks, we're going to be having more of the sales. Like I usually say, we're going to be having more of the sales. And then that doesn't mean we're not going to be having buys. But the week is definitely, we're going to be having more of the sales based on what broke below the low of the week. As you can see on this case on 4 hour time frame, it definitely broke below, and that I expected more of the sales, which happened eventually. And for us to be more practical about this, each of my psychological level you see on my chart, this horizontal ray that has purple lines are my psychological levels. They act as support and resistance. So from this level where I finished marking it, each of them is 50 pip movement. So as you can clearly see, let's count. Here is 50 pip movement. Here it's another 50 pip movement. That's 100 pip movement. And here is another 50 pip movement, that's 150. And there is 200 pip movement. Here is 250 pip movement. And then here is 300 pip movement. You can clearly say this one definitely was, let's say, 340 pip movement. So after marking the high and low of the week, you can clearly see that price did 340 pip movement for the week that just closed. For the week that just closed, price eventually did 150 pip movement for the week that just ended. So as much as definitely price eventually was doing the pullback, I definitely see this as a pullback because price from the higher time frame, which is the 4 hour time frame, was going to retest this low of the week, which you can clearly see from the 4 hour. So I usually use 4 hour to analyze my trades. So as you can see from this level, price was just close to touching this weekly low of the week. So whenever price breaks below, price tends to test back this level and then move back to the original direction, which in this case is a sell. So on this particular day here, I definitely was selling. I was selling. And what happened? Price did 50 pip and then reversed back and was clocking to touch this level. It was clocking to touch this level. So there definitely should be a reaction from this level. So that was what happened on GBPJPY. And another typical example is when I go to my 4 hour, you can clearly see from my USD card. Let's calculate the peak movement again after marking the weekly high and low. I want you to definitely pay attention. Whenever you see on this day on Monday, On Monday, as you can clearly see, after marking the high and low of the week, what happened? Price broke above it, and price did how many pips movement? 139 pip movement. That was what price did. So you can see that this high and low of the week sets the tone. It is the directional bias of the week. That's why I usually mark it out. It helped me determine what the directional bias is going to be for the week. As you can see, I marked it on Monday, and price eventually on Wednesday, price already did 139 pip movement. And Fridays literally they tend to retest most days. But you can clearly see after that, price eventually again, pay attention. Again, this is my 4 hour time frame. This is how I literally analyze my trade. You can clearly see again from this level, price was close to touching the high of the week because this time it broke above it. So price was close to touching the high of the week. So this is definitely what I'm talking about. Whenever I mark this high and low of the week, it gives me the directional bias for the week. It gives me the directional bias. In this case, it broke above and then price eventually was coming to retest it and the market is officially closed. So that was it on USD card. 139 pip movement on USD card after marking the high and low of the week. So that is definitely it again. Let's go back to let's see USDJPY. Let's see USDJPY. Okay, on USDJPY on this day, I was selling. I was selling USDJPY on this day. On this day, I was selling USDJPY. Let me definitely show you very nice. So from this day, I definitely entered the sell from this level. When I saw this, that was on Thursday as well. On Thursday, I saw a sell. I saw a sell. And on this day, eventually, I also reduced the risk from 29.6 pip to definitely 26. So I reduced it. So I entered from this level and then targeting 100 pips, who gives it a very good ratio reward of 3.74. So eventually, price eventually came back. Price came to eventually hit the take profit on USDJPY. So that was a very good setup, clean setup on Thursday as well. So I want to go to my 4 hour. I want us to measure how many pip movement the price do after marking the weekly high and low. Let's see how many pip movement. Okay, so as you can clearly know, and probably you've understood by now, each of my psychological levels are 50-50 pips different. 50-50 pips difference. That's the psychological levels. So from where I marked it out, you can see here is a 50 pip movement, 50 pips. Then here is another 50 pips movement, which is 100 pip movement. And then here is another 50 pip movement, that is 150 pip movement. So on USDJPY from the week that just closed, market did 150 pip movement on the sell side. Market did 150 pip movement after marking the high and low of the week. So you can see that this gives me directional bias. And what it told me from after marking it, it was telling me that market was we're going to be having more of the sales for the week that just ended. We are going to be having more of the sales, which price eventually showed that by the put movement it did for the market that just closed. It did 100 and pip movement, 50 pips, 100 pips, 150 pips. Then on this level, definitely price eventually rejected. Because of this, if I have to draw this, you will see the market has eventually tested these levels on multiple occasions. Market has eventually tested these levels on multiple occasions. So as you can see, looking left, you will see why price eventually reversed from this level. So price eventually reversed from this level because here is definitely a support level here. In this case, it's definitely acting as support to push the market to the upside. So that was why you see multiple candlestick rejections here. Here is a support level. Looking left and other, you can see price has eventually tested this level one time, two time, and then third time and fourth time. So eventually it reversed back. So this was definitely what my trading was all about the week that just ended. And now you have to pay more attention to the high and low of the week. After marking the low and high of the week, you tend to see how many peak movement price eventually did. On gold, price eventually spent time consolidating, not much movement, nothing happened for me on gold because price failed to break below or break above. So eventually for me, based on this movement, this price movement here, I already saw that price was definitely going to sell. I was positioning for a sell, but it never gave me a full confidence, or not confidence. It never showed me a full confidence as well. Already, it's already given me here, looking for my 4 hour time frame. I've already seen the psychological level here. That's definitely acting as a resistance. And if you look left as well, it's very important. And here also, I have the high of the week, which is definitely two of my four conferences. And I can clearly see an MO pattern here also, which is 3/4 conferences. So already for me, I was definitely going to position for a sell from my 15-minute time frame. I was going to position for a sell for my 15-minute time frame. That's on gold, but price eventually took time, consolidated, broke below a little bit, and then came back here. So eventually, if the market was still open, seeing this, I'm definitely going to position for a sell for my 15-minute time frame. So that was definitely the recap on my trade so far, and GBPUSD as well. Let's see what happened on GBPUSD. Okay, on GBPUSD as well. Let's see what happened. From Monday after marking the high and low of the week, what happened? Price did how many peak movement? 50 pip movement, 100 pip movement, 150 pip movement. So price did, let's say, 150, or you can say 140 pip movement. Let me definitely measure it to be very sure. To be very sure how many pip movement. Okay, you can clearly see we have we have definitely 141 pip movement after marking the high and low of the week. 141 pip movement. Market was selling. So what happened here? You can clearly see here we saw price eventually fail to break above. It failed to create a new high, but what happened? It got rejected. And what happened? Market dumped to the ground side by making 141 peak movement. So you can clearly see that this is exactly how I trade. All I do and what I do is after marking the high and low of the week every Monday, I have to then be patient enough to see price give me confirmation of an entry. It's for me to be patient to get an entry confirmation before executing on any trade. So that's what I basically do. So I just want you guys to take this very serious. Marking my weekly high and low of the week determines and shows us the direction of bias for the week. So that's definitely that on my trade recap. So if you definitely like the way I analyze my trade, the way I definitely sets my rules and definitely wait for my conferences, I want you to hit the subscribe button. I want you to like for more.